Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Karine
Namaste Saraswate Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshakarine
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parishad Acharya Ashtotara Shata Shishimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai.
Jai.
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद की गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। समवेता भक्तवृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे
Hri Hari Bol.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glory to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauranga. Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlad
Hiranya Kashipur Pakshaha.
Hiranya Kashipur Pakshaha.
Shilakam Kanakalaye. Ito Nrisingha Parato Nrisingho. Yato Yato Jamitato Nrisingha. Bahir Nrisingho Hridaye Nrisingho. Nrisinghamadin Sharanam Prapadye. Nrisinghamadin Sharanam Prapadye. Kamala Varinakam Adhuta Srinam Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanu Bringa Kesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Tava Kara Kamala Varinakam Adhuta Srinam Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanupingam Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Tava Kamala Varinakam Adhuta Srinam Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanupingam Keshavadita Narahari Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish
Nakam Adhuta Srinam Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanupingam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare.
We sing Bhagavad
Gita.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to ISKCON Philadelphia's Sunday Feast program, virtual Sunday Feast program. I'm happy that you've joined us today, both on our Zoom and YouTube channels, and to the volunteers that are here assembled in the temple room. Thank you for attending. In just a moment, we will be continuing our study of the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Before we get to that, we're going to take everybody to a close-up darshan of the deities. His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Parama Karuna Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Jai. His beautiful Lordship Shri Shri Radha Sharad Bihari ki Jai. So at this time, I'd like to introduce the speaker for today, His Grace Vishnugada Prabhu. Looking at the attendees on the list here, he is well known by all of you. So we'll jump right into the program. Vishnugada Prabhu has helped facilitate these classes and helped organize this second chapter reading. We're going to be at the last section of this study. And today we'll be learning about how to find and develop inner peace.
No, go this way. Yeah. Hare Krishna, devotees. Just as usual, we'll chant the Jaya Radha Madhava prayer. And I think you all know. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Giri Varadhari Gopi Janavallabha Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Shodanandana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajak Acharya Ashtotara Sutta Shishimar His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se Koho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shamaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Hare Hare Gaur. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glory to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hari Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. We're studying the Bhagavad Gita, the song of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And for about the last 3 months, we've been studying the second chapter, which is the foundational knowledge given by Lord Krishna to his devotee Arjuna. So this is the last installment of our study of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And we're going to study tonight and talk about this verse, second chapter, 70th verse. So as usual, I'll chant it, and then we can have some others chant also after I chant it a few times. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we often chant that mantra prior to speaking on the Vedic literature, which was compiled by, who compiled the Vedas? Vedas, correctly. And who is Lord Krishna's father? Okay, so then who are we paying obeisances to when we chant this mantra? Om Namo Bhagavate. Who are we paying obeisances to? I don't, maybe Mukunda Krishna knows. He's got his picture on there. I don't know if he's paying attention yet. Who are we offering Bhagavate? Om Namo Nama. Who's that obeisances to in this prayer? I'm asking Mukunda Krishna here. He's there. I see him on the screen. What happened? Oh, it's no volume?
You can.
Hare Krishna. Or did we stump you? No, I think we're not. I think not. He's not paying attention. Okay. All right, that's okay.
Obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Not to Vyasadeva, not to Krishna's father, Vasudev, short A, but Vasudev means the son of Vasudev. Vasudev means also the all-pervading personality of Godhead. So Vasudev is the son of Vasudev. So it's Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. Sometimes there's other prayers people also chant. Srila Prabhupada just usually chanted this prayer, that's it. This mantra prayer. Okay, so we'll get right to the verse. Apuryamanang achala pratishtang samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayang pravishanti sarve shashanti mapnoti na kama kami. Apuryamanang achala pratishtang samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayang pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. Apuryamanam achala pratishtang samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayang pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. Please, anyone here would like to chant first? We'll give the local people who are very close. You would like to chant? Go ahead, please chant. Oh, you're singing a different tune. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. If you like to, you can do. You can use any tune you like. Samudram apapravishannati yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantim apnoti na kama kami. Yeah, except see when there's a short A, the A without a line over it. How do you pronounce a short A? Like the U and but, right? So it's not sa shantim, it's sa shantim. We Americans have a hard time with that because in English, A is always practically and especially if it's right before an R, then we really get karma, but it's really karma. Did you know that? Karma. Anyway, just a little, Okay. Anyone else present?
Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kama yam pravishanti sarve sashantim apnoti na kama kami.
Very good. Mother Vindhyavali, you don't know this one. You don't have the book with you. Okay, that's all right. Okay. It's at 270, but Oh, you're going to do it. You're going to venture out and actually chant the verse. Okay, that's fine. This is a participatory. Krishna consciousness is participatory. It's not just a for spectators. Also, spectators are also there. Very good. Any of the devotees on the Zoom who would like to chant it for everybody's benefit? Yeah,
Yes, please.
please.
Apuryamana pratistham samudramapa pravishanti advat tadvat kama yam pravishanti sarve sasanti mapnoti na kama kami. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Very good. Someone else?
Yeah, I'm ashamed to go next to Mukund, but I'll try. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudramapa pravisanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravisanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami.
That was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. Yes. Anyone else like to chant?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Kanchan here.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Kanchan. Yes, please chant.
Apuryamana majala pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Very nicely done. Very nicely done. Apuryamanam, always being filled. Achala pratishtang, steadily situated. Samudram, the ocean. Apa, waters. Pravishanti, enter. Yadvat, as. Tadvat, so. Kama, desires. Young, unto whom. Pravishanti, enter. Sarve, all. Sa, that person. Shantim, peace. Apnoti, achieves. Na, not. Kama, kami. Kama, kami. One who desires to fulfill desires. So could we go down from this? How do we do that? How do we go down? Is there a down arrow here? Oh, okay. Okay, 2 fingers. I don't have this is a Apple or MacBook. Okay, translation. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Purport. Although the vast ocean is always filled with water, it is always, especially during the rainy season, being filled with much more water. But the ocean remains the same, steady. It is not agitated, nor does it cross beyond the limit of its brink. That is also true of a person fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one has the material body, the demands of the body for sense gratification will continue. The devotee, however, is not disturbed by such desires. Why? Because of his fullness. A Krishna conscious man is not in need of anything because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities. Therefore, he is like the ocean, always full in himself. Desires may come to him like the waters of the rivers that flow into the ocean, but he is steady in his activities, and he is not even slightly disturbed by desires for sense gratification. That is the proof of a Krishna conscious man, one who has lost all inclinations for material sense gratification, although the desires are present. Because he remains satisfied in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he can remain steady like the ocean, and therefore enjoy full peace. Others, however, who want to fulfill desires even up to the limit of liberation, what to speak of material success, never attain peace. The fruitive workers, the salvationists, and also the yogis who are after mystic powers are all unhappy because of unfulfilled desires. But the person in Krishna consciousness is happy in the service of the Lord, and he has no desires to be fulfilled. In fact, he does not even desire liberation from the so-called material bondage. The devotees of Krishna have no material desires, and therefore they are in perfect peace. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master has opened my blinded eyes with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtang Stapidam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kata Mahyam Dadati Shah Pandantikam. What? Why?
You want the screen?
Yeah, I do. Ancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I like this verse. There's some imagery, some beautiful imagery in the verse that's pertinent to the philosophical point that's being made. So the topic of this section or this episode of Bhagavad Gita study, do you remember what the topic is? You don't remember the topic. What is the topic?
How to find peace.
Yeah, how to find peace. It wasn't inner peace, but you added that. That's okay. So I mean, this verse is particularly more about the inner peace. But we can look for peace. Individuals can look for peace for themselves individually and collectively too. Right? Both. So, but this verse highlights more the individual attempt for peace than the collective, but still they're related. So we'll talk briefly about the collective later, but we'll start with the individual. Is this something that you'd like to have? Would you like to be, usually the kids don't want to be peaceful. They get bored, but when you become an adult, then you think, yeah, that is an important thing, to be peaceful. Peaceful. Are you a peaceful person? Especially for those from an Indian background, they like the word shanti. Isn't it? Shanti, shanti, shanti. We have to say that shanti means peace, peace, peace. Why? Well, particularly in Kali Yuga, this particular age, there's chaos and fighting and disturbance internally and externally, conflict going on all the time. So it's very difficult for someone to actually attain a state of real lasting peace. Because, why is that? It's mentioned in the purport here. Srila Prabhupada explains that he says it very nicely. He says, there are these material demands. When you go to somebody and I'm going to demand you something, that means you better listen to me, right? So the material desires are making demands on us, and there's so many material desires that are going on, and we're being bombarded by those desires to be satisfied. So in the face of all these being bombarded by various desires, it's very difficult to be peaceful. And something like, in the summertime, especially if you're in the country, in India also, in the nighttime, you're trying to sleep peacefully, and then there's this, what's that? Isn't it? So you're trying to be very peaceful, and then one mosquito after another, especially if you don't have a mosquito net. So even though you're trying very nicely to be peaceful, you're getting bitten by all these different mosquitoes. And so it's very difficult to be peaceful, repose, and like that. So here the example is being given that like those mosquitoes, like the rivers are coming to the ocean. You just can visualize that for a moment. You've been to the ocean. It's not that far. But the ocean is just so gigantic. That's what they say. It's oceanic, right? Huge. And very big rivers, especially when rivers come close to the mouth where they empty into the ocean. They're very wide, but they have lots and lots and tons of water. So the ocean is being filled, but it's not being the vast ocean is not getting disturbed by the inflow of that extra water from the river. So that's being the question is, how can we be undisturbed like the ocean? That's the imagery given here, right? How can you and I be undisturbed like the ocean? Because we've got all these desires that are coming onto us. Well, this verse we shouldn't forget. This verse is coming to us. It's the end of which chapter? Chapter 2, right. And what information and what important knowledge did we get in chapter 2? Yes, very good, very good. We learn at the beginning of chapter 2, Krishna's first instruction as well. You and I are not our bodies. The material body is only a covering to our real self. You and I, even little kids and old people and black people and white people and Indian people and fat people and thin people, and everybody, men and women, all of us are spirit souls. And the soul is eternal. That's something that's a very, very revolutionary information. Practically no other institution teaches the clear understanding of the soul. So if you were not the body, but were the soul, then these material demands that are bombarding us, we can at least theoretically appreciate these are not something that are as our primary importance. Yes, they're important, but they're not our primary importance. The primary importance that we can experience fullness and identity with is the soul, our actual identity is eternal spirit soul. So with that understanding, we can understand that these material desires are arising by the conditioning of our body and mind. They're not intrinsic to the soul. That's why Krishna says already in Bhagavad Gita, he said just prior to this, he said, Prajahati yada kaman. You remember this verse? Prajahati yada kaman, sarvan parta manogatan. He said, give up. He's telling us, give up all those desires, where they were coming from. Manogatan. Manogatan means what? They're arising from your mind. We have this idea that these desires, if we strive to get them, we'll be happy. But actually, it's not true. This verse is focusing that the person who strives very, very admirably, very valiantly to satisfy all those material desires, even if you and I get those things, still we're not going to be happy. Still, it's not good. That's not the source of peace. The source of peace is not striving for desires and then getting them and then satisfying them for the body. No, it's not. What can contribute to our satisfaction? Not being disturbed by desires. Ooh. This is a completely revolutionary concept in the Western world, isn't it? Everybody's trying to get ahead. What does that mean? That means we want to satisfy our material desires. That's the whole purpose of life. There is no other purpose. Yeah. But here, Krishna is saying, no, if you want to be peaceful, don't strive for satisfying your desires. This is this is mind-boggling. It's hard to bend your head around that because it's so opposite what is usually the way of thinking in this world. So we have to, in order to do that, we have to remember our position. We have to remember our position as spirit souls, at least theoretically. Therefore, this concept is being developed by Lord Krishna in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, as I mentioned that other verse, Prajahati yada kaman, sarvan, all of them, sarvan parta. I'll get rid of all those desires. But it's not just part here. In many parts of the Bhagavad Gita, he also says that. Brahma bhuta prasanatma nasochati nakankshati. Someone who's on the spiritual platform, nasochati. They don't hanker. Nakankshati, no lament. This is the sign. Brahma bhuta, someone who's actually on the spiritual platform, nasochati, no hankering for material things, no lamenting because of loss of material things. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. They're equal. And what is this? Another symptom? They're equal to all living beings. We had some discussion and some people were looking down on this concept that, now there's, Black Lives Matter. And so then you can't just say you're not your body. But that's actually, the philosophy is very, very deep and very important. That if we can understand truly, we're not our body, then naturally, we're going to treat everybody equally, according to this verse in Bhagavad Gita. And even if we don't come to that platform, at least we can aspire to that platform according to the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So this is a wonderful thing. So this is the same idea as concept is reiterated again and again in the Vedas. Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam tayaparhita chetasam. It says, Krishna says, those people who are striving to get material sense gratification, they'll never be able to develop, spiritual consciousness. Vachove, you know this one? Vachovegam. What is that? Vachovegam, manasa kroda vegam, jiva vegam, udurupasta vegam. Etan vegan yo vishahete dira. There are different pushings. Pushing, vegan means pushing. So there's a push to talk. And the telecommunications company have capitalized on that because every family now has to have several phones. Each person has to have more than one phone, isn't it? To talk. Vacho vegam, manasa kroda vegam. And the mind and the anger is pushing. Jiva vegam, the tongue wants to taste. Udaropasta vegam, the belly and the genitals pushing. So they're making demands. But if a person can control those things, then that person is spiritually advanced so much so that they can become spiritually teachers and disciples all over the world, become a Jagat Guru. This is interesting, very interesting teaching. So we have to learn to practice this method of not taking those material desires, not acting to placate those material desires immediately under impulse. When are you going to practice that? When do you practice that? You can practice, go ahead. Yes, you can do it all the time, but especially you practice this verse when you're engaging in devotional service, and particularly when you're doing chanting japa, and when you're doing kirtan, and when you're hearing the discourses on Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, right? There's so many other things that are going to come up when you, isn't it? When you're chanting japa, oh, your phone is going to go off, right? Oh, didn't you have to do this thing? Aren't you a little hungry? You have something to taste. So many millions of things are going to come into your mind, isn't it? But the practice is, no, ignore those, at least for that time being. That is the practice of devotional service. We see quite often, not so much now because there's a pandemic, but when oftentimes when you have the class here, you have some kids, they'll be coming in and they go out. In, is that, you remember? Gotta have somebody at the door. They come in, they go out, in and out, in and out. That's like your desires. That's what's going on. Yeah. So the practice is to ignore or minimize, not take seriously all those desires that are coming in, particularly when you're engaging in devotional service of hearing and chanting. And that's the practice. And if we do that, then there's a possibility, it can be, we can persevere, but persevere to the point where you can actually get a taste. We were chanting every day, but if you chant with this kind of attention, not being disturbed by the incessant flow of desires, then you can actually start to get a taste and you'll want to chant more. Instead of just being at a drudgery or being a duty, it'll be something that becomes wonderful. So, and then let's think a little bit more about how this is happening, how it is happening that, these desires are coming. Well, a devotee is, as Prabhupada said, is feeling full in themselves because they have some engagement in the Lord's service. That's a kind of higher pleasure. Even if you don't have it fully, still that's the aspirational thing. I remember the first time I went to Mayapur, West Bengal, India, they had this big Prasadam pavilion. They're still there, that big Prasadam pavilion. At that time, they would, thousands of local people would come for Prasadam several days a week. And then they'd cook these big vats of khichdi. And people would line up in rows, it was like, 200 yards long rows. And so, you take your bucket of khichdi and start going down this row on the leaf plate. You've done this? Yeah, done it. And what was really kind of surprising to me is because everybody in this row came over to that row where you started down. Why did they do that? Well, they saw there's this gigantic vat of khichdi in the front. You're dumping your bucket in because there's a feeling that there's not enough. There's not enough. They're going to run out. That's something that's kind of become ingrained in their consciousness that there's not enough. So if I don't get right up there, they're going to run out and I won't get what I need. This is unfortunate, probably because many of those people were refugees from Bangladesh that came over to West Bengal. So they went through starvation and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, the consciousness of a devotee is not like that, because they're confident that Krishna will give whatever they need. It's something like a child. There's different kinds of kids when they grow up. Sometimes the mothers are very attentive and the kid is peaceful. But when the mother doesn't give the child what they need very often, then they're always cranky and crying and stuff like that. You know that? So Krishna, one of the symptoms of a devotee is they have full confidence that Krishna will give whatever I want, whatever I need, not whatever I want, whatever I need, Krishna will give. And that's the nature of a devotee. So that's why they can be undisturbed by the flow of desires, because they're sure Krishna will give me what I need. There's the story of Mrigari. Do you know Mrigari? Who was Mrigari? He was a hunter, that's right. He was a hunter. So he was taught by his dad the hunting business. And his dad told him that when you shoot the animal or with an arrow, you kill, just don't fully kill it, half kill it. Half kill it. What's that called? Torture, yeah. And there's some happiness that a person might get for seeing the animal, writhing in pain. So that was his method of hunting. He was killing animals, half killing them, watching them die slowly like that, torture. So then Narad Muni came, and Narad Muni, he said, I have one request for you. Please, you're doing some nasty things, but one of the worst things is please stop half killing the animals. Please stop half killing them. Unless you're going to kill them all at once. Don't half kill them. It was very sinful to half kill them. So he was kind of amazed that, but my father told me this. This is the way it is in tradition, right? A tradition we have, my parents ate meat. So it's the tradition, my parents drank this. So it's the tradition. We do whatever, that's usually what happens in life. We do it where our tradition is. So he said, this is my tradition. This my father taught me this way, and people in our family have been doing this for generations. So Narad Muni said, no, you've got to stop. So finally he understood, and he said, okay, and so better you stop all the sinful activity, slaughtering the animals. So then Narada said, if you really want to do that, you have to stop killing the animal, and you have to just give up all your bow and arrow and everything, and just go to the bank of the Ganges and chant the holy names. Get a tulsi tree and chant the holy names. And you know what Mrigari said? What did Mrigari say? I can't do that. How will I get my food? How will I maintain myself? How will I do that? That's what he said. It's my job. How I maintain myself. This is our condition. We think, if we don't do this particular kind of work, then we're not gonna get what we need. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ananyas chintayanto maham ye jana paryupasate tesham nitya viyuktanam yoga kshema vihamyaham. To those who are always ananya, not without any other deviation, always concentrating their mind on me, yoga kshema vihamyaham. I carry to them what they lack and preserve what they have. So Narada Muni said, don't worry, you'll get what you need. Now think about that. Each one of us sitting here, how many times have we not had food to eat? You've got your food every single day. And it's not just you and me. Every single person out there practically has got it. Even the elephants and the hedgehogs and the squirrels. Who is doing that? Who's giving that food? That's God. That's Krishna. to every single day, to every single being in the world, in the universe, Krishna is doing. So certainly for somebody who's trying to be his devotee, he will take care. So Narada said, I will personally arrange. So Mrigari, he renounced his bow and his profession, and he went and he sat and he started chanting Hare Krishna in the Tulsi tree, around the Tulsi tree. And guess what? People heard, the people were bringing atta, lots of atta, rice, vegetables, fruits, everything, so milk, everything. They had and he had to give away. This is not just some fancy story, a fanciful story, but this is what actually happened, and this is true. This is true. And this verse is saying that, because if you put your concentration on Krishna, Krishna will bring what you need and carry and preserve what you have. And because a devotee knows that, they can be peaceful. Other people can't be peaceful. Where will I get my food? I don't know. And there's so many desires that are coming. People are because material desires can't satisfy the soul, then the desires have to be doubled, tripled, quadrupled, find new ways to try to satisfy the body. Therefore, we have to drink alcohol, right? Or ganja, smoke ganja, right? Because you can't be satisfied just by material activities. I remember, usually you talk to a person, because I have to interview people and they'll tell me, why do you smoke? I'll ask them, why do you smoke marijuana, ganja, right? And they say, it makes me very peaceful. They say, and maybe some people believe that, yeah. So usually, sometimes it's very dramatic, but so I'm asking, one guy says, yeah, it makes me very peaceful. So what are you here for? Well, I killed my wife. Right? True story. Yeah, they're saying it's making you peaceful. It's just not possible to be peaceful. What happens? All these different kind of substances we try to use to satisfy the body. One time we had a field trip to Gita Nagari, right? Field trip to Gita Nagari, everybody stayed overnight. So in the morning, so many people had a headache. Why did they have a headache? No tea. That's one thing after another, right? One thing. A person who's, if you don't drink, have a drink in the morning, what happens? You get sick. That's a person who's addicted, right? All these different. So devotee doesn't deal with any of those type of activities, and therefore it's possible for them to be peaceful and to engage regularly in the service of the Lord. But without engaging in the service of the Lord, it's not possible to be peaceful. So each person must practice serving Krishna individually and do some regular service for the Supreme Personality of Godhead here and at home and in your life. And that will make you have the secret to be peaceful in your life. So we're not saying desires, we have to get rid of desires. No, we're not saying get rid of desires. We're saying, the Buddhists say, the problem of life is desire. That's what the Buddhists say. So get rid of desire. Krishna consciousness does not say get rid of desire, but it says purify your desire. Now we're desiring, selfish interests. Yeah. But purify desire means to desire for engaging in service to Krishna. Atmendriya priti vancha bole kam. You know this one? Atmendriya priti vancha bole kam. Krishnendriya priti ichadhare prem nam. This is the definition. You're wanting to satisfy your own senses, striving hard to satisfy your own senses. That means that is kama, lust. And trying to satisfy Krishna's senses, that is love. So devotee or spiritual life means learning how to practice satisfying Krishna's senses. Mukti, bhukti, siddhi, kami, sakala ashanta. Krishna bhakti nishkama ateva shanta. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Das Kaviraj says, all the bhukti means a sense gratifier, materialist. Mukti siddhi, there's people who are desiring sense gratification, person who wants liberation, mukti. Siddhi, person who wants mystic perfection. Sakala ashanta, all of them are unpeaceful, not peaceful. Krishna bhakta nishkama atayava shanta. Only a devotee can be free from desire. They can be peaceful because they're freed from desire. Not all desire, but free from material desire. Their desire is to satisfy Krishna. This is important stuff. So here we were talking about collective, individually, how we can practice getting peace for ourselves individually. Then collectively is another thing. I don't know if we have time to put up those. I don't know.
The videos?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's just a few videos I wanted to show here. You'll see if it goes on. Next one. Like 30. That's the screen. You can't see it on your phone. Yeah, only the people at the. Well, anyway, if you can't see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's okay. So what their various ones are. Next.
Just give me 1 second to go from one to the next. It just takes a second.
Okay. Get a little clear.
No.
Everybody stay down. Get down.
Come on, push!
members, Madam Speaker.
At about 2:40 p.m., Speaker Rebecca Kadaga entered the parliamentary chambers to preside over the day's business. Kadaga was expected to give a communication on several motions, including the much anticipated motion by Igala West MP Rafael Magezi, seeking to amend Article 102B of the Constitution to...
Thank you, thank you. The first one was from the Parliament of Ukraine. The second one, if I remember correctly, was Japan. Did you recognize the third one? Oh, the third one was United States here.
United Capital.
Yeah, and the fourth one was India, last one. What was going on in each one of those? We were talking about individual peace, and now we're talking about collective peace. What was going on in each one of those videos? Was it commotion?
Unrest.
What?
Unrest.
Conflict, right? It was not peaceful. And why is that? Why is that? Why?
Because everyone's greedy.
Everyone's what?
Greedy.
You could say, yeah, that's all right. We're on the right track. Because in the world, one person has their desire, or their constituents have their desire, and another group or another person has their desire, and they're different, and so they have to fight. And so the first step is, okay, we'll argue, right? And if somebody doesn't listen to me, well, I'll get a gun, because then they might listen to me, right? And so then it just escalates more and more, conflict all over the world. So, in my generation, when we were growing up, as a teenager, they used to say, make love, not war. Have you heard that? Well, it's a good idea, but actually that doesn't work either. Because even among domestic partners, if there's a murder, who's the first suspect? The partner. Because, or sometimes there's a love triangle. Because really that's not love at all. It's lust. Everybody's trying to satisfy their own desires, and therefore there's got to be conflict as long as we're on the bodily platform. So the collective contribution to peace, number one, is for us to understand we're not the body, and that the material desires that we have, which are going to conflict with other people's material desires, because everybody on the material platform is different, is never going to be peaceful, not possible. But if we can come to the spiritual platform, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, Nasochati Dekangshati, then there's possibility of peace, because we're no longer thinking about our body's needs different than that person's body's needs. We're thinking about the symptom of the soul. And as noted in this verse, one other thing is that one, on the spiritual platform, one learns to be tolerant, right? Just like we were talking about practicing bhakti yoga, and when you practice chanting, all these different desires will come up, but you have to learn to tolerate them. Otherwise, you'll get distracted and you'll never make any progress. So similarly, those people who are practicing spiritual life, they learn tolerance. They learn to appreciate others' positions in society. Therefore, they can actually there's a possibility of peace for that person, but not for others. Okay. Thank you. I went over time. I'm sorry. Thanks. Thank you very much. What's that? One question. Yes. After he agreed, Narada Muni requested him to don't half kill, just kill him. But then finally he said, give it up, give it up. So when he said, give it up, that's when he said, how will I get my food? How will I maintain myself? You know, we think, well, sometimes people enjoy suffering of others. Hare Krishna. That, you know, Srila Prabhupada talks about how when he was a child, there was a person who lived on the street, and he would take a chicken and take the head off the chicken. And the chicken, the bottom half of the chicken would be running around. And the guy would be, the butcher guy would be laughing. And the little kid, his little boy, would be crying. But you know, there's a certain amount of callousness that develops in that kind of thing. So yes, people, it's not just, you know, this kind of person. This is not just a little story about, you know, Mrigari but nowadays people also engage in that type of thing. I'm thinking about myself, you know, I work in psychology, and interesting thing is that the leaders of the American Psychological Association made a deal that the psychologists can supervise Guantanamo. It was kept secret, but it finally came out. So, you know, if you support those kind of people, then you're supporting torture. You know, so many different of even our current occupations, they're sullied with, you know, things that will injure others, animals and humans also. Why do people do it? Well, for money, one. Like they say, how will I get my food? How will I get my money if I don't have to do this? Well, you'll get it. Krishna. Yes. Torture. So why do they torture people? Why do people are torturing? Oh yeah, people are torturing. Why do people torture? Because they get some enjoyment out of it. So that we don't recommend that, you know. No. Just for some gain, some slight gain. We don't recommend killing animals for maintenance. Some people think, well, you're a vegetarian. What do you eat? You just eat some like kind of salad? Is that all you eat? No, there's plenty of, you can eat plenty, so many things. Krishna Prasad, we know. Anyway, thank you. What's that?
Some people argue with this, even plants have life, why you're killing plants too.
Yes. So of course, we minimize it. Like, you're not killing the eggplant when you get the egg, right? There's eggplant parmesan today. We're not killing the eggplant. You take the fruit of the plant, right? Or a tomato, you don't kill the tomato plant. Even grains, when you harvest grain, like a wheat grain, it's turning golden is when you're supposed to harvest it. Now, you know what they do? You know what they do is they spray a chemical, kill it in there because they don't like it all be done at the same time. But when traditionally, you know, you harvest it, it's already died. But if you kill something, if there is some killing involved, it's not for your benefit. Whatever Krishna says, whatever you eat, offer to me. Yat karoshi rajnashi is juhosi dadasi yat. And patram pushpam palam toyam. You offer those things to me. If you do so, I'll be happy. So we're not doing it, even if there is some, the violence is minimized, but whatever is there is not done on our account, it's for Krishna. You know, okay, sorry. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hi.
Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, and thank you, Vishnugada Prabhu, for teaching us these important lessons on how to find peace. We hope that all the devotees pursue this practice of peace in their daily lives by regularly chanting Hare Krishna and performing devotional service, and attending the programs that we offer here at ISKCON Philadelphia. Every day we have classes. Every morning we have Srimad Bhagavatam class beginning at 7:50. In the evenings, we have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We have Bhagavad Gita, 5 o'clock to 5:30. This coming week is a special week. Also Thursday evening, we have a class on the Brahma Samhita, how to chant the Brahma Samhita at 6:45, and then followed by a class on Srila Prabhupada's life at 7 o'clock. I want to, this upcoming week is a very special week here at ISKCON of Philadelphia. We're going to be celebrating Ram Nomi, the appearance day of Lord Ramchandra. That is on Wednesday. We fast that day until sunset. That's correct, sunset. And we're going to be having a program starting at 5:30 at the temple. Now, the first part of the program from 5:30 to 6:30, we're going to be going on Harinam Sankirtan. We're going to be going to the streets and chanting. And we need some people to come along with us. We don't want to go out there with just 4 people. We expect a lot of people to come when we actually do the worship in the temple. But the real worship for this age, as taught by Lord Chaitanya, is Harinam Sankirtan, to go out and distribute love of God to everyone. So especially on these appearance days, when the Lord's mercy is so available, we don't want to be selfish. We want to actually be able to give it to others. Give the mercy of Lord Ram, give the mercy of Lord Krishna, ultimately coming through the personification of Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna's mercy as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We want to give that out. So we invite you to come at 5:30. We don't have to worry. We're not going to make it complicated. We're not getting in cars and having to park and then meet up at a certain place. We meet here at the temple, and we're going to go out in the neighborhood of the temple and perform Harinam Sankirtan. After that, we're going to be doing an outdoor program. Temple room, because of COVID, we still can't have that many people. The weather's getting nicer, so we're going to have outdoor facilities, nice program, kirtan, we'll have a drama, Abhishek. So please come. There'll be an email coming out tomorrow with the exact details. Prasadam that night. If you want prasadam, you'll have to reserve it. Same way you do it for Sunday reservations. Also coming up this week, on Tuesday evening, we have a brand new book study that is starting. It's called Our Family Business. In the same way we're going on Harinam Sankirtan, this book is to encourage, promote the distribution of Srila Prabhupada's books. It's written by His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu and goes over the history of book distribution within ISKCON, and will hopefully encourage you and our community to take up this practice of book distribution for the betterment of the world. Not only will you become stronger, our community will become stronger, as well as the world around us will become more informed about transcendental knowledge. We'd like to thank our Sunday Feast sponsors for this week. The first sponsor, we would like to offer our blessings and congratulations to Mother Vatsala and her husband Ashok on their 50th wedding anniversary. Haribo! Congratulations on this monumental accomplishment. My parents, they got their 50th anniversary 2 years ago, and actually only 6% of the people who get married actually make it to 50 years. So that is quite remarkable, and our blessings, Krishna's blessings to you and your husband. It is also Ashok's 80th birthday, so we also want to offer our prayers and blessings to him. Let us chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then we also want, this feast is also offered in the memory of our late friend, His Grace Vishnu Aradhanam Prabhu, who passed away this past week. We had a memorial service for him on Thursday. It's something that really kind of saddened and shocked our community. We pray for his soul to quickly come to Lord Krishna's lotus feet. And we also, if any devotees are, need to are grieving over this this loss, they need to console. We have a wonderful Vaishnava care team here at ISKCON Philadelphia. You can reach out to a number of devotees. I can direct you there. Mother Sangeeta, Mother Sita, Mother Jagannath Priya, Mother Manju, Mother Golokananda Priya. All these devotees, they can help guide you in some way to get you connected to help. So with that, we will conclude for tonight. Darshan at the temple will be open until 7:15. Please come and see the Lord. We would love to see you. Hare Krishna. Be safe.